Why, hello to all you out there in YouTube land. Welcome to another series of videos on this idea of arts and culture. I was actually out and about today and realized it had been a long time since I had shot a video, and realized that there was something on my mind in terms of art and culture, and was like, you know what, I'm not even going to wait till I get home. I'm just going to stop in this parking lot and record this little video. So this is that series where we spend some time reflecting on the fact that we live in culture. And so much of what we see and hear and interact with has cultural overtones to it. And sometimes those can be encouraging things that sort of prompt our faith and help us to think a little more deeply. Things that sometimes mirror our own spirituality and faith and can be good and helpful things. And sometimes it's obviously things that are a little more problematic. So we try to talk more about those encouraging things going on in the arts and culture, whether that's books, whether that's movies, whether that's music. And what I would like to offer for you today is another film, and it's the movie 12 Angry Men. Now, there are actually two different versions of this movie. The original, which is the one that I'm primarily referring to today, is the 1957 version that stars Henry Fonda, Lee J. Cobb, and a whole slew of other recognizable actors that you will see throughout the movie. But there was a 1997 remake, which was directed by William Friedkin, I think, that had Jack Lemmon, George C. Scott, I believe. That also was a decent sort of adaptation, putting it more in modern times. But it was also a little more rough, crude, and in color. The one that I'm referring to goes back to the 50s, black and white, a little more family friendly, if you will, at least as far as language is concerned. The subject material is still quite troubling. The reason this has been on my mind recently is my daughter was just mentioning to me that she saw it recently. Again, she's seen it before, but she had just watched it again, and every time I hear that name, 12 Angry Men, again, this is the version I think of, the Henry Fonda black and white version, and also just what an incredible movie this is. Very thought-provoking, very simple, even deceptively simple, but it plays on the moral complexities of human conscience, justice in an unjust world, and structural societal sin, if you will. This was also Sidney Lumet's first feature film that he directed, if I remember correctly. Sidney Lumet, if you've never heard that name before, has directed just a ton of classic movies, and movies that have kind of crossed genre spectrum. So he's always been a fascinating character for me. But 12 Angry Men almost plays out like a stage play. It all occurs in basically one room, which is the jury deliberation room. It tells a very short, concise, about a 90-minute story about right after closing arguments have been made on a murder trial. A young man, a young Latino man, if I remember correctly, who is on trial for the murder of his father. We don't get any of the details of the case up front. We just get the fact that now it is time for the jury to deliberate, and that the fate of the young man stands in the balance, because this is a potential death penalty case. What we get over the course of the next 90 minutes is the people going over the facts, and just how the majority of the people are already convinced by the prosecution that this young man is guilty, except for one juror who starts asking some questions. And those questions lead to more questions and a reviewing of the evidence. And it hits at several of these really, really core issues, I think. Issues about what is the difference between truth versus opinion? How do you actually get to the truth? How do you uncover it? How do you recognize it? What are those things that sort of drive us? Our own distractions, our own wants, our own desires, our own time frames. When does truth become inconvenient for us? When is justice more arbitrary and not as big a deal? This movie does an excellent job of telling a story long before we had terms like implicit bias and structural racism, personal racism. You see all of those things at play, and chances are you will probably identify with one or more of the jurors and sort of their archetypal positions that they take on behalf of the story and on behalf of society. So it's not a fun watch in the sense of it's a lighthearted movie, but it is told very, very well. And because it's mostly just talking, but the revelations that happen through the talking are just so interesting. I think it's very creative, and it does what I think good cinema does, which is it asks hard questions and it challenges us to put ourselves in that situation and to see really where our loyalties lie and where our desire for justice perseveres or is hindered by other things. So I'm going to recommend this movie, 12 Angry Men, the 1957 black and white version directed by Sidney Lumet. As of the time of the recording of this video, I believe you can see this movie for free either on Tubi or Amazon Prime. There might even be some more platforms, and I know those are changing all the time. So just do some homework. I'll leave a link to the trailer in the description below. And also, if you have seen this movie, if you have had positive or negative experiences with this movie, or if you go back and watch this movie because of this recommendation, and then you have an opinion about it, feel free to interact in the comments below. This is meant to be an interactive community where we share some things with one another and we just talk safely, politely, gently to one another about these topics of art and culture. So keep looking, keep contemplating, keep noticing what is out there. And if you have any recommendations, let me know. But until the next video, I look forward to potentially seeing you again soon.